The more I get to know her, the more I grow to admire and respect her. Karen was the first woman to make it to the runoff in Georgia as a gubernatorial candidate. In the primary, she was well over 30% ahead of the other candidates and only lost the general by less than 2,500 votes. She's Georgia's first Republican Secretary of State. She took on the Department of Justice and implemented voter ID in the state of Georgia. Yes, you have to have picture ID to vote in the state of Georgia, and that's Karen Handel. She was elected the first female chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissions. She inherited a $100 million budget deficit and balanced the budget without raising taxes. In 2012, Karen gained national attention in her role in Komen's decision to end Planned Parenthood grants and the subsequent resignation due to their capitulation. This woman is fearless. She has standards and she has morals. Her 2 cents is worth about $47 and change. And the bid is going up. She can go into a dollar store with 50 cents and still come out with change. And in fact, the most interesting man in the world aspires to be her. So please welcome my dear friend and the next senator from the state of Georgia, Karen Handel.
Good evening, everyone. Wasn't Katie great? Yeah, give her another big round of applause. Really, you did great. And Cheryl, you have been a great friend, and it's been wonderful getting to know you and sharing a couple of campaign adventures and stuff together. And I want to say thank you to all of you. It really is I was so thrilled when I got asked to come speak. It really is quite an honor to be with you. I'm not sure that you fully appreciate the incredible impact that you've been making across the country, in whether it is propping up individuals who are trying to run for office and win office, or from the grassroots activism to help wake up your neighbors to what is going on in this country and what is at risk. So really, you have my deepest respect for what you do and how you do it. It's great that you're here. It's great to be in a room of smart girls because, well, every smart girl knows that you should be a conservative and a fighter for freedom. It strikes me that we are sort of a new breed of conservative women, if you will. We kind of like, it's not your granddaddy's car anymore. We have a new way of doing things, a new way of speaking, a new way of speaking out. And we want our children to have a good education. We want parents to be empowered with choice so that they have a say and a real voice in how their children are educated. And we want the federal government to get out of the way when it comes to educating our children. We want a limited federal government that isn't going to infringe and encroach on freedoms, on our individual freedoms, or the freedoms for our families. We want a federal government that gets out of our health care. We want less regulation. We want a flatter, fairer tax so that there's, yes, more money in your pocket so that we can really get this economy going again. We want this reckless spending in Washington stopped, and we want a serious initiative in bringing down the debt in this country so that it does not bankrupt future generations. And now, that deserves some applause. We've got some work to do. You heard Katie talk about the so-called war on women, and to a certain extent, it got a little traction in 2012, and hurt some of our Republican candidates. And it's important then that we make sure that we have the strongest candidates coming forward, and secondly, that we have candidates who are prepared and can talk about the issues that are important to America in a way that resonates. I don't remember who said it earlier today, but so that we really connect, like Erica, I think it was you, that we really connect with the American people about who we are and what we believe and why our beliefs are going to make for a better America and a stronger family. And it strikes me that the real war on women can really be found in the failed policies of Barack Obama, Harry Reid, and Nancy Pelosi, because it's those very policies, folks, that are making it harder and harder for people to get ahead, harder and harder for young people, not just to dream a dream in America, but to be able to achieve the great American dream. And that is what is at stake right now, and it's what you are fighting for. But you know what? We have to face a really hard truth about all of this. We didn't get to where we are overnight. Democrats had a lot to do with it, but so did Republicans. Washington is an unmitigated disaster. They're up there, they're more interested in sound bites and getting reelected than they are in solving the real problems that we are facing, that real American families are facing. And that's why we have to make sure that you do not lose faith, that you do not lose hope, and that we get strong, solid, conservative women elected, because women like Erica and myself, we don't play. We are about solutions. We are not about excuses. How many times have you heard the folks in Washington say, well, I voted no. I voted no. Does your boss, do you let your kids just tell you, well, I said no? Results matter, ladies and gentlemen, they matter. When I was chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, Cheryl mentioned it, I came into a $100 million budget deficit. What she didn't tell you is, I didn't have a Republican majority. It was 4 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1, I'm not quite sure, depending on who talked to him last before he took his vote. So they had a budget on the table. It had a $3 million property tax increase. I could have thrown my hands up in the air and said, well, I voted no, but I didn't, because that's not what strong conservative women do. What women do, we get to work, we wrote a new budget, we came forward, and I found a way to get my colleagues to do the right thing for the people in that county so we could pass a budget that was balanced and did not have a tax increase. A few months into my term, just with a routine audit, discovered that our sheriff had misappropriated about $7 million in the county. Now let me tell you about this sheriff. First of all, I'd never held elected office before. She, however, and in Georgia, sheriffs are very powerful. In most states, sheriffs are very powerful. And rightly so. I want a good, strong sheriff. In Georgia, this sheriff was the first female black sheriff in the country. She had just been named Sheriff of the Year nationally. And so here comes the little whippersnapper gal who's just been elected and in office for 3 months, and I'm calling the National Sheriff of the Year corrupt. Well, because she was. So, I didn't have any authority to remove this woman from office, but what I knew was this. I had to make a decision in those early months in my first elected office, and that was this. What kind of an elected official was I going to be? Was I going to be one who saw a problem, saw an injustice, saw something that needed to be corrected, and just because I didn't have the ability to directly do anything about it, just shrug my shoulders and say, I said no. That wasn't good enough. So I read the state code, I went to the governor, I went to the Sheriff's Association, I rallied the people of Fulton County, and in the end, I called for her resignation, but she got so much pressure that she resigned, and we got almost all of that $7 million back for the taxpayers of our county. Results matter. And we need leaders in Washington who are going to stand up and fight for you, not for the K Street special interests, but for you and for America, and who will not give in to the refrain of, it can't be done. And that's why I stand with Senators Mike Lee and Ted Cruz for the bill. It can't be done is not an option. It is not an option, folks. We are already seeing the impact on families and businesses in this country. Higher insurance premiums. I got a call from one of my friends a month ago telling me that she had gotten a notice telling her that her policy would be going away in 60 days. So people are already seeing the effects. There's $800 billion in new taxes there. $800 billion. We know this is bad policy. We know it's going to hurt the economy. We know we can't afford it. So now, this is not the time for any conservative to get weak in the knees. It is no time for any conservative to get scared in the face of the liberal scare tactics. They do it every time. They rally up people with scare tactic stories to get people to come out. We have got to stand firm and tell the truth and be honest with the American people about how this policy is going to affect them. We know it's a failed policy. Heck, they know it's a failed policy. One of their very own called it a train wreck, yet the president keeps putting his foot on the accelerator instead of on the brakes. The real issue is this, and I hope that the folks in Washington, our Republican leadership, that they do not fall into the trap of being made the scapegoats in the budget battle, because the real issue is this. Everyone knows that President Obama wants Obamacare to be his legacy for his administration, right? We all know that. So the real question is this. Will the president be willing to put his legacy ahead of what is in the best interest of the people of America? That is the question that we must call out the Democrats on. That is the question. Now, many of you have perhaps heard, Cheryl mentioned it, we've got a little race for United States Senate going on down in Georgia. And yesterday, Harry Reid predicted that Michelle Nunn, his and Obama's hand-picked candidate, was going to snatch that seat from conservatives in Georgia. No doubt they're going to recycle the whole war on women. Well, we're not going to have none of that. And little Harry's in for a big old shock because Georgia is going to elect the first woman, a conservative smart girl, to the United States Senate. And that's because we women, we are agents of change. You heard Erica talk about change. You heard everyone talk about how women, we are reform agents. It's what we do. We are bold, we are gutsy, we are straight talking, we are determined, and we are tough as nails. And we better be with the issues that we're facing. But what I know is this. We can do it because women are doers. We know how to solve problems. We know how to put the interests of others ahead of ourselves. And we're not all that interested at all in getting reelected. We're simply interested in doing the job. And that's why we need to have smart girls and conservatives like you. I know it's hard work. It's really hard work. And you don't get paid a single dime to do it. You do it because you care. You do it because you care. But we need you to stay engaged because we cannot, we will not be silenced. A couple of people asked me to talk a little bit about what it was like to run for office. It's kind of fun, actually. It is. Don't you think it's fun, Erica? But it is also hard, and you better have a tough skin if any of you who are thinking about it here. Because people will say anything about you, even if it's not true. And then even if you're not in public office, your conservative beliefs can be used against you. Katie, I kind of dislike Hillary Rosen myself. Hillary Rosen was a consultant for Susan G. Komen for the Cure. She was hired to manage the left. I guess they figured I wouldn't be much good trying to talk about Komen to Nancy Pelosi after they Googled my pro-life beliefs. But what I know is this, that through that whole entire situation, the liberal bullies, the big money abortion businesses bullied on Komen and really just forced them into capitulation. And for me, I could not work in an organization where politics trumped the mission of fighting breast cancer. And that's the other quality. And I think that's the other quality that women bring to public policy and elected office. We find it within ourselves to do what is right for no other reason than it is right. Now, we know America is off track. We know what we have to do, and we know that we have some really tough challenges ahead. It's as though our leaders in Washington have forgotten how to lead, and too many of them have forsaken their conservative principles and the commitments that they've made to the people who have elected them. But I want you to know that I stand here with great optimism because of the enthusiasm that you've shown, but also because this is America, folks. This is the great United States of America. And only in America, could someone like me be standing before you tonight. I left home at 17 to get away from an abusive family environment. I finished high school. I went to work. I worked hard. I held myself accountable. And only in America could I have had the opportunities that I have had. And that's what's at stake right now, and why we must all stay engaged. Because the truth is, folks, the challenges that we're facing today, they pale in comparison to the challenges of previous generations. World War I, World War II, the Great Depression. We are at the heart of America, courageous, tenacious individuals. And we will come together to do the things that we need to do, because we must. We absolutely must. We cannot. I'm running for this seat. It's going to be hard. It's 3 congressmen and a girl. A smart girl, that's right. But I'm running because I will not resign myself to an America of mediocrity. We cannot resign ourselves to an America of mediocrity. We must make the hard decisions now, elect the right leaders who help lead us forward, engage you in the process, so that together we will do all the things that we must to make sure that America remains the greatest land of opportunity and the greatest land of the free, not for us, but for future generations. We're going to do it. Keep the faith. I love y'all. God bless you.
I just want to take a moment and personally thank Karen Handel